Our scene opens with the slamming of a door. And it is dark at first. You hear the shuffling of someone reaching into their bag, and then a flashlight clicks. Darren, you are shining the light around, and your eyes begin to adjust to the beam of the light that's piercing through the darkness around you. It's fairly loud between the rain pouring down outside and the panting and coughing from those of you that have made it inside. Dripping wet, your hair and clothes are just drenched, and you feel a shiver running through you as you're looking around, seeing who made it inside. Darren, Yasmin, Joy, Nancy. But that's it. Nobody else. And you immediately feel the dread and the guilt, remembering hearing all of those around you getting picked off one by one on the rooftops by those things. And then you remember that those things were following you. And Darren's light immediately moves to look for windows, but you see they've all been boarded up neatly, already blocked. You assume by the soldiers that set up this base. And then you see a table in the center of the room with supplies and a few like laminated pieces of paper that are like nailed to the table itself. There are also some like battery-powered lanterns that you see sitting on the table, not lit or anything right now, but you can see them. You see a few candles as well. The four of you are standing here, catching your breath as your eyes adjust. What would the four of you like to do?
Darren, well, I guess Darren's just gonna first look around at Joy and Yasmin and Nancy, and just very, very quietly, kind of like pointing the flashlight down too, so it doesn't reflect too many places, but just as like, is everyone okay? Did anyone get scratched or bitten or anything? And he's like looking at he's himself too, but he's like just checking in with everybody.
No.
I don't think so.
I'm good.
Did the other two teenage girls make it as well?
No.
Okay. Cool.
And did we see? I remember it obviously being described to us what happened, but did we all see? We all know. Like, it's not worth being like, did we see? I wonder if that person's still alive, or what happened to this person. Like, we all pretty much saw people get picked off.
Yeah, I would say even if you didn't see everyone, you saw at least one or two and then heard the rest. So like you're not questioning it by any means. Yeah.
Are there other doors out of this room?
Yes, this is like the obviously like the top floor of a building that has been boarded up. It's like an attic area, it almost looks like, but there are a few windows that have been boarded up in here. There is a door that'll lead down to the next floor. You see it is closed, and there is one of those like lever latches that goes over it. So
Okay. I'm gonna go over to the other door and just press my ear against it to make sure before letting my guard down.
Yeah, and is it still raining and stuff too?
it is still raining, yeah. Now you kind of hear some thunder outside. Go ahead and make a spot listen roll.
Can I do one just kind of like as well, just checking around the?
Yeah, go for it.
It's a fail, but only a 52 over 47, so
Okay.
not a big fail.
I got a 26 under 42, but it's just like kind of around to see if there's creaking boards above us or shuffling or something.
Yeah, it's any outside noises are kind of being drowned out by the storm that is rolling in, but as for inside the building, it is the quietest you've heard it in a while.
I feel like once she's not confident, but she's confident that there's nothing. She'll like just back against the door, just slide to the floor and just like
Your attention, would anyone be looking at the table currently?
Yeah, I wasn't going to interrupt in case anyone else wanted to, but I know Darren would start poking. I don't know if he'd take much yet, but I think he would start poking around at least just to see what's there.
Yeah, I think Joy would be kind of curiously looking around.
Yeah, Nancy lost her weapon, so she's absolutely looking for something to replace it.
And and probably we can't use our guns now because they're all like wet and stuff. If anyone had one.
Kind of walking up to this table, you see these laminated pieces of paper. One of them says extraction and supplies. And you see like a little list. There's a little list of supplies. It's saying like candles, there's cloth. You see now a pretty large chest underneath this table that seems to have a lot of these supplies. Extraction date. And it has a date on there. It is not tomorrow, but the day after. It explains they'll be coming by helicopter to the rooftop.
So
And then it tells you there is food, medical supplies, water. There's a good list of gear which you can find in that actual chest underneath as well.
So we just have to hold out until tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm imagining Joy finding that. That's cool. And like, you just like read that aloud, and Darren like peers over and like walks kind of like and looks over your shoulder and just like rereads it like 3 times.
Right? So they're coming by helicopter tomorrow. So we just have to stay here.
We tried to wait it out before. And we all know what happened. What makes you think it's any safer to wait out here?
Because we know that they're coming.
And I'll say with that too, like the conversation is gradually fading as the camera sort of lowers down the floor of the building. You kind of like go through the floor of the building. It goes through it, down another story, and another, and another, until it finally reaches the bottom floor, where we see another door slamming. Slams closed, and then there's that same like lever lock that is flung over it as well. The windows are all boarded up here too. You're safe. You hear the infected that were chasing you slamming against the door and against the wood, but it doesn't budge. You're safe. You look around, eyes trying to adjust to the darkness, and you see what appears to be a battery-operated lantern lit up dimly near a piece of paper at the front desk of this building. The paper appears to be laminated and nailed to the desk itself. Elle, Aaron, and Dakota, what would you like to do?
I'm making sure Aaron is on their feet as little as possible, so I'm trying to get them set down somewhere safe before we really go any further.
Sure, yeah, there's probably a staircase pretty close by. You kind of have Aaron's arm over your shoulder, walk over and just set them down on the staircase as you're looking around.
You okay? You good? Are you hurting more?
I mean, it's the weirdest thing because I feel like it's still there, but it's not there because we threw it at the car, and so now it's over there. And I thought, when we came up with the idea, I thought I would be okay, and like I'm okay, but like I don't know. I'm just gonna sit. Do we have anything to drink?
I'll kind of paw through the bag and see if we have any more alcohol.
I'll say, yeah, there's probably a bottle in there. At least one.
Okay, I'm not responsible for making you an alcoholic. The end of the world is, okay?
Yeah, no, fair assessment. Totally. Yep, down.
And when we have other things for you,
Mhm.
I'm gonna maybe caution not drinking this much.
Yeah, I just don't want to take up all the Tylenol, too.
Dakota's head whips around sharply at the mention of the Tylenol. Well, you haven't had any yet because you're still healing and you're drinking heavily, right?
Right. I mean, yes, there's plenty. There's plenty of that left. There's
Right.
plenty.
Head whips back around. She's checking the area. She's just kind of scouting while Ella is getting Aaron settled.
Okay, I'd say you would see that paper over by the lantern. It has some just basic information. Number 1, bite wounds spread the disease. Number 2, noise and scent attracts them. Their ability to see without noise and smell remains unclear. Number 3, infection from bites will kill the infected between 6 and 24 hours, depending on the bite's location. Number 4, and it says, other infected, ? These seem to be more ruthless and stronger. Their bites don't infect, according to our research, but they are deadly. And then it says, evac point on roof, and the date that is been set already.
Dakota will bring that paper over to the rest of the group and convey what she's read and look at the stairs and then look at Aaron. Ready?
I mean, shit, if we're gonna finally get out of here, yeah, let's do that.
Hopefully we don't find another scene like the last place we were at.
Oh, why'd you have to go and jinx it, Dakota?
If I say it out loud, it makes me feel better. Like I'm putting the hope out into the world.
I don't
Everything's
think
gonna be
that's
okay. Everything's gonna be okay.
Have you
No,
ever
you can't
seen
keep
a
saying
sitcom?
that.
Like, I don't think that's how that
gonna be-
works.
It's gonna be okay. She
It's
says
a
under her
classic
breath to
writing trope
herself.
that the person that says it's going to be okay dies, and I don't want anyone else to die, so you've got to fucking stop saying that.
That
Please.
escalated.
Dakota looks shocked because I think the whole time she and Elle have been playing this game where like Dakota says it and Elle is like stewing in the corner. And so to have Elle directly say that to her, she's just taken aback and has the look of when her daughter talks back to her. Like, do I say something? Do I not say something? And she just kind of bites her lip. Noted.
Sorry, that was
Nope.
harsh.
Nope.
We've all been through a lot the last few days.
It's fine.
That was very harsh. I'm very sorry.
It's fine. It's not fine. It's not fine. It's not fine. It won't be fine. Let's go. She
That's
says, trying to
fine.
amend.
Elle's kind of just like, well, I missed so much.
Won't be
I think
fine.
I'll-
Nothing's fine. Nothing will be okay. Let's go, Aaron.
Okay, you can't say that either, though,
I
because
don't
then
think
that's
that
putting that
that's
out
the
in the universe.
point.
You just,
No.
it's
What do I
better not to
do?
say anything. It's just better
I
not to say
just-
anything.
Can we just hear? And Aaron like hands Dakota the bottle. It's like, just let's go.
Dakota thinks about it and instead reaches for a cigarette, finds that she's out of them, has that moment of panic, pushes that way deep down, and then grabs Aaron by the shoulder underneath, like the arm swing, and begins to help her upstairs.
I'll grab the lantern and lead us up.
Okay. Those of you upstairs, after a few minutes, you begin hearing this. They're not exactly quiet.
No.
Not exactly quiet. You're hearing. I don't know if there's talking necessarily, but it's hard to have someone over your shoulders, and someone they're clearly like struggling up these stairs a little bit. So you do hear those noises.
I imagine I'm still sitting with my back against the door, basically like the AK in my in my lap. And when I hear them coming, I will stand up and back up and say to Nancy, Joy, and Darren, there's someone coming up the stairs. It doesn't sound like any of the frenzied, but we should just in case. And I'll step back a bit, and maybe gesture for Nancy or Darren to open the door.
Nancy will open it. But before she does, she kind of has her hand on the doorknob and looks at Yasmin, looks at Darren, and kind of like gestures at Joy to kind of move to the side, get somewhere a little bit safer.
Mhm.
And Nancy says, "All right. 1, 2, 3." And Nancy will throw open the door and step to the side.
Let me ask, Elle, Aaron, and Dakota, what is your reaction to a door suddenly being wrenched open as you're approaching it?
I feel like Erin's been drinking so much and has gone through so much at this point that like her ability to react to things is just not there. So they're probably just more like non-reactive, if that makes sense.
I think Elle automatically kind of like swings the lantern in a panic move. And then as soon as there are actual audible words, tries to like pull back and ends up like hitting herself in the face almost.
I feel like Dakota did something very similar with the alcohol bottle she had been handed down below, about to let it swing, and kind of grasps it on the top of it at the very last minute.
We can't let these people hang out with us. One of them's too drunk and the other two just hit themselves in the face. We got to get them out of here. No.
Oh, fuck you.
In this moment, before anything else is said, let's describe our characters.
So as Nancy wrenches open the door, those of you on the other side of the door see a woman in kind of early middle age. You can see that her blonde hair, she's very well dressed, but everything's a little bit disordered now. So her hair is rumpled, her clothing's ripped and torn and dirty. This is Nancy Keene. You can kind of tell by looking at her, she's wearing like nice like pearls, and she's very well dressed. But even though she's kind of been confronted with people swinging things and kind of panicking, there's kind of this strange steely calmness to her as she looks at all of you surprised.
Just beyond Nancy, through the doorway, is a woman of middle age, tanned skin, red headscarf, holding an AK-47, pointing at the ground, but very directly, very seriously looking at the doorway and kind of looking you all up and down. She's in a loose-fitting plaid shirt. Clearly doesn't look like it belonged to her. And like loose slacks, wearing a large backpack that kind of clips at the front.
Elle is at the front of the smaller group. They're kind of like medium height, medium build. She's got long, dark, curly hair that's like half up in a bun. She's got kind of like wild eyes now, where they were once pretty calm. She wears pants with a belt that are cinched way tight, because the pants are too big, and a truly ugly orange, like button-down shirt, underneath a blue cardigan. There's like, I think they've got like a backpack over their shoulder, and then sticking out of the back pocket is a little blue notebook.
So Aaron is very sloppy, obviously. They have kind of like a really, they're not really small, but they're not really like, they're kind of like short and kind of like stout-ish, I guess. But she's wearing like just like this big shirt that they just found, obviously just found. Is not kind of like fits with her at all. And then a pair of sweatpants that she's rolled up. And then you notice that she's missing the bottom portion of her right leg. And it's tied off with the sweatpants that she's wearing with like blood, kind of like not a fresh wound, but like not an old wound either. It's very new. So the bottom of her pants are very like there's blood and stuff like that, even though it looks like they did their best to clean themselves up. And yeah.
I forgot one detail. I'm very sorry. Elle's left arm is strapped across
We
their
keep forgetting
chest.
about that.
I do too.
I also have a
and
character detail that I keep forgetting about that is very important and noticeable. So
Yeah.
safe space here.
so it's kind of like tucked up into the backpack strap so that it's not hanging dangly, and it looks not great.
And rounding out the group is a middle-aged woman, short hair, cropped, kind of mussy and messy at this point. She's wearing also ill-fitting clothes. Looks like a set of clothing from like a Marshalls or some like upscale boutique store with the tags still hanging on them, so you can see like the price tag dangling off the shirt and the slacks. The shoes appear to be her own. They're like a white gym shoe, very thick padding on the soles, very practical. But they're no longer white. They're spattered in old blood that is dried and kind of crusted in the laces. And she has an empty cigarette pack that's somewhat crumpled and is like dangling forlornly out of her shirt pocket, just like flapping like a sad puppet with every step she takes forward.
Joy would probably be like peeking back up from behind the table, but Joy is about 16 years old. They have like half wet, half dry, long hair, a hoodie and a t-shirt, with like tan skin, just covered in like muck and debris and stuff like that, just from crawling around. And then has like a giant backpack on their back that they have.
And then also kind of up front next to, probably kind of next-ish to Nancy, kind of like filling the doorway, who stepped through and was the one who was being swung alcohol and lanterns at, is holding kind of a big wrench, and with an eye patch over one of his eyes is a like early 30s man who's pretty tall, very lanky, kind of that like weird, we're like, why aren't you should be fit, but you're not, you're just very skinny kind of things. He is strapped down. He has like all kinds of just weird knick-knack armor kind of things all over him. Children's like knee pads for soccer on his forearms, that kind of stuff. And he has a beard that was clearly well kept as of, I don't know, say 3 or 4 days ago, whenever the appropriate amount of time was. And his hair is just super messy, but has been kind of like hastily pushed over to the side because it's all been rained on, and just kind of exudes. Or like for a moment, he is kind of startled to see you guys and kind of grips his wrench, and then slips into an air of kind of like pseudo confidence that only a rich white man in his 30s can have. And he extends a hand outward to you all and says, Darren Baldwin, good to meet you. Good to meet you. Are you all, you're all injured, I see. We can help. Are any of you bitten?
No.
Or were you
No.
bitten? And he like
No.
No,
looks
no, no.
at Aaron.
I crushed it. Like I did it, kind of me, but it's not a bite. I promise. Like I
wasn't your fault.
swear. What?
It wasn't your fault. We took a big jump, but I wouldn't call it your fault.
Well, let's talk about the nuance of what happened. Inside, we'll get to know each other. There's some supplies in there. Let's get you settled. We have a doctor. So just
You have a doctor?
just come in, but like let's all use our inside voices, and let's please come on.
Dakota is not impressed with this air of authority from this random person, and so
Good.
she just
You
kind
shouldn't
of
be.
pushes past him, looking for the doctor.
Yeah, you
and-
said you have a doctor, and the woman holding the AK-47 waves.
So that's the first person that she goes to brief with. She of course makes sure Erin is like on her feet and like steadied and has a place to. She just burst forward from Erin.
Drops me in the stairwell.
Erin tumbles back down the stairs. We have to go get her.
Oh God.
Is there any kind of like empty table or couch or something that I can gesture to put people on?
Yeah, there would be like little cots in here as well. Like this is very much so set up for survivors to hold out. So there are places of like comfort, there's places of like practicality, tables where you could potentially.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll gesture. Put them up on the over here. I'll take a look and I'll remove the AK and like clip off my backpack and start to pull medical supplies out.
Can Nancy
Dakota-
take your AK? Just
Oh, yeah.
like not permanently, but just like
I'll
I'll hold on.
don't press this. I'll put the safety on. Be careful.
I know how to use
Dakota-
a gun, doctor.
Dakota just sidles up to you, Dr. Yasmin. She asks in a questioning way.
Yes,
Or
Dr. Yasmin Khan.
Dr. Khan, I just want to let you know I'm Dakota. I'm a nurse, just graduated from nursing school. I tried my best. And here's the situation. And she just begins speaking to you in medical jargon. And it
Incredible.
almost feels nice to speak in like a very technical way. It's kind of like slipping into another language. So she's code switching a bit as she talks to you.
Amazing. Yasmin will very actively I won't, but will reciprocate asking specific questions about injuries, how they happened, what symptoms are presenting, and so on as I start to set up. And I feel like I don't even have to point to things as I'm like telling you to get stuff because you just automatically know what to start handing me. And it's like a pattern over years has been made.
Yeah, it's almost interesting too because Dakota, having been the medical person in this small group, almost you see her like shift roles and kind of begin to be more deferential to Yasmin's instructions. So Ellen and Erin would notice that she's kind of like getting into this nurse assistant role.
Elle gets a little indignant on your behalf, like internally, like, who does she think she is? She's the one that. Oh no, that's weird. Don't do that. And then keeps catching herself kind of doing it and like, getting a little like, no, she's smart. Leave her alone.
To Dakota, I will say, who first? I trust your triage. Which individual in your group needs more help?
Erin has recently had a wound cauterized. We performed an amputation on the lower right leg not a day ago, and I've been dressing it and treating it, but it's definitely still actively bleeding. Elle has had a fracture, and it is currently tended to, but definitely needs some treatment as well.
I'll put a hand on your shoulder and just look at you. Can you say, "Did a great job with what you had. Incredible, good job." Let's take a look. And to Erin, now we're going to take a look. Are you in any discomfort? Is there anything I can get you before we start to? Would you like, there's not much in the way of privacy, but I can ask Darren to turn around if you wish.
Oh, no, you're good. And she just like takes her sweatpant, like unties it and like pulls it up, and you can see it's a very like field amputation kind of situation we got going on here. I would say that we probably cut off like a five. I'm really bad at measuring measurements, but like 3 inches maybe above my ankle, 3 to 4 inches above my right ankle. And then Erin just starts going on about like because she hasn't talked to anybody else but these two in like who knows how long. And so she starts going on about like how when she was a babysitter and like kids would like fall and fracture themselves, how like she's very like trying to be like, hey, like I know stuff too. Like I'm also kind of smart about medically things and like we can be friends and like trying to like kind of very like camaraderie on that level, if that's the word. Yeah.
How old is Erin?
Erin's like 21, 22.
Also, I love the implication that Erin's like, oh yeah, the kids that I was babysitting, they broke their limbs all the time. I totally get it. It happens like once a month or so. Don't worry about it. I got it. Understood. We're basically the same.
I mean, throwback to episode 1. I broke my nose like 6 times.
Nancy goes up to Erin and will sit next to her or stand by her and just put out her hand a little bit as if to gesture like, you can hold my hand if you need to, if you're in pain. And she says, baby, it's all right now. You don't have to pretend to be tough right now. We're going to take care of you. Baby, everything's going to be fine.
And Erin's just like, okay. Stops talking.
Always laughing in the background.
Darren, as this is kind of all going on, definitely is like itching to learn more, do introductions, all that kind of stuff. But like obviously Dakota's busy, is helping that stuff. Erin also very busy. And Elle, just like I'm imagining Elle is just like in the background, just like watching this happen and
seething.
And
Elle
just being very upset.
Elle has not Elle has had 2 people to take care of and spend time with, and now other people are giving them attention and they don't know how to really handle that because Elle doesn't do change well on top of everything else. So she's just kind of like, I was gonna go check on Erin, but that's fine. That other lady did it. Whatever. Dakota did a great job. I don't know why she's talking about needing help. We did fine on our own.
It's a really big question now, both for Nathan and Darren. Is like, Darren, obviously, I can smooth this over. I can, but also Darren's like, that's a lot for me right now. We just all came in, so I think actually what Darren's gonna do, just for now, he has his eye on Elle. He's gonna get over to Elle, but actually goes over to Joy. Just as we're kind of like over to the side, and it's just kind of like, are you how are you doing with all this? Are you okay? Are you? There's more people. That's good.
Joy's like nodding her head as Darren's saying that as she's rummaging through her bag, trying to find a spray can. And as Darren continues to talk, she just starts shaking the spray can.
It's very direct eye contact.
Yeah, still making eye contact, and then starts spraying while he's talking.
No, I love that. I saw all your stuff. We didn't really get to talk last time. And again, Darren and Yasmin, she may not be paying attention, but definitely would know that like this is what Darren does, is he just sometimes just starts talking and just keeps talking. And that is very much what he's doing. He's like, oh yeah, no, I never really got to notice your art the last time, or I saw it, but we didn't really talk about it. It was really, really interesting. What are you doing here that might be really nice? I mean, hopefully we'll be here, just a couple more days, but it'll be a really nice way to have it. And, they were, and something I've been meaning to talk to you, this is all like truncated, but like, I heard them talking about, like, you don't have to be tough, but, I think, you're a really tough person, and as they say in business, tough times, they never last, but tough people do. And I thought that you should know that I think that you're really you're tough.
Can the rest of us hear this?
Probably. It's not
Yeah,
to
you're
you.
all in the
Okay.
same room. Yeah,
Yeah. It's
absolutely.
not to you, but Darren's, he's not shouting or anything, but he's just going.
Seems like you're having a kind of a bad day, huh, Darren? And I hand him like a spray can.
Ooh. Darren just like looks at it and just like shakes it very awkwardly in like the way that he's seen you do it, and is like, thank you. What should I do? Like, what should I do? What should I what are you doing? Should I match it? Should I do a different thing? Is that
You usually just start with like a mark, and you just kind of go from there, and kind of whatever is on your heart, you just kind of put up on there. I mean, that's how I kind of handle things, but you know, if you gotta talk it out, I guess you can do that too, but at least, I don't know.
Darren like takes a pause and just like looks down at it and like looks at you. I'm presuming you're still basically just like going as you're talking, and is immediately very intimidated, and just does like one little just like psh, on the wall, just like a very exploratory psh, and then he kind of like stops, and then he just like super rushed in a very way, just like literally makes a heart. Because Joy said, do whatever is in your heart, and that's all Darren could come up with was an actual just heart of like, I don't know, purple spray paint. And Darren just like looks over at you and just kind of nods. It's like, yep.
Nice, look at that. Get it.
I saw over there, Elle, I think, or one of the new people, I should go introduce. And just kind of like awkwardly hands the can back and just good. I'll check in. Yep.
Okay.
And then goes.
Goes over to Elle.
Yeah.
Or...
I didn't want to hog all the scenes, but yeah, would then be like kind of eventually starting to work. And this is again happening over a couple minutes, I'm imagining. Like we'll start working his way over to Elle at some point.
Okay. Aaron and Elle, do you still have your wounds marked on your sheet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Yasmin, make an advanced medicine roll. I'm gonna give you advantage because you quite literally have like a second pair of hands with you. So advantage on both rolls, and tell me what you get.
So the first one was 20 under 80. That was 30 under 80. So we'll go with 3 degrees of success. No, 6 degrees of success. For 1. And then that's trash. That's 96. That's 70. So 1 degree of success.
Okay. All right, we can carry on with that Darren and Elle scene while I message Yasmin about how her medical procedures are going.
Good. That's good. I'm very excited to now be role-playing, knowing that's going in the background. Neat. Good. Nothing bad can happen there. So Darren, like, still sensing whatever energy is still there, like, kind of does an awkward. Again, this is all in just a small room, and there's 7 people, so it's not like it's all awkward. But like, just does kind of one of those things where he goes up to the supply table and is just like poking at things. Just been like, oh, flashlight. That's good. Oh, got some bandages. Just like super actively being like, I got to give it just a minute, and this is the only thing I can think of to do because spray painting is not for me. and eventually he would work his way over to L, or B or whatever.
Quick question about Darren. Sorry, did you say he's wearing anything that denotes him as like a business person?
So he was,
Okay.
but you know, the zombie apocalypse is pretty rough on the wardrobe, as you guys know. And so there might be like his tie isn't, maybe he still has like a dress shirt on kind of thing instead of like, you know, comfortable, whatever. So I'll say he's still wearing like a dress shirt, even as there's tons of other stuff like duct taped, but is like muddy and gross. He was kicking around in the sewers not long ago. So like he's not at his business best. Like his beard is again not kempt anymore. All that kind of stuff.
If there's like a dress shirt or tie or some kind of marker, just for flavor, you'll note that whenever Dakota has a pause in the procedures with Dr. Khan, she kind of looks over at Darren and whatever thing he's saying at the time and just kind of glares at him and then turns back and it's exclusively to Darren.
Good. A correct response.
In a similar
Go ahead.
In a similar vein, as he starts touching and naming all of the objects, Elle becomes peripherally aware of him, and it just kind of like builds the tension in her as she's like trying to like not hover but like stay close to the people that she's been with, and it's clear that they don't need her right now, so she's just kind of building in this tension. And finally, as you get probably like halfway down the table, Elle's gonna round on you and say, "They don't have ears. You don't have to teach them their names."
Sorry, what was your name again? It was L, right? L, right? L. I didn't. Nathan said it weird. Darren didn't say it weird. L, correct? L, pause, correct?
Yeah. Yes, I'm El Rosario.
So you guys from the area?
Are we having small talk in the zombie apocalypse right now?
Well, you know, I like to make sure, you know, we are all gonna be here for hopefully just a couple more days. And you know, I've found that, you know, a team who is able to communicate well, you know, even if it is just for work stuff, that, you know, it adds a degree of camaraderie, and it really just kind of makes everyone, you know, function a little bit better in especially trying times like these. I'm obviously you guys have had some trying times of your own, and I'm sorry for that.
I think Elle's just gonna squint at him for an uncomfortable amount of time and like remember like show openings and like play red carpets where there were like businessmen trying to talk to creatives, and it was just incredibly uncomfortable on all counts because they did not speak the same language in any direction, and it's almost enough frustratingly normal that they soften, but not quite. It's very much like okay, I've had this conversation before. I don't want to have this conversation in the middle of the fucking end of the world, and just kind of like sits back and lets him blather his way into whatever he's going to say. And then, so you want us to be a team that has good communication skills.
I mean,
while we're getting chased by monsters who can bite us and kill us. Just so I'm understanding exactly what you're feeling.
So at that, Darren had been, you know, just chatterbox, right, business person. And when you say that, he like, in the same way that when you started kind of with that hostility that he wasn't ready for, now he also pauses again in a very different way. And he looks down at the floor just a little bit, and he doesn't make eye contact with you again. And he'd been making very pointed eye contact, and like, we are connecting. Our soul, the eyes are the window to the souls kind of energy. And he says, us working as a team is the only reason that I'm alive. So it's yeah.
And I
At
think
this
that kind of, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I think that kind of knocks Elle out of like hostility, everything is a danger, and like puts her back in her body almost as a human being before a survivor, and just kind of right. No, that's a fair point. Darren, right?
Yes, Darren.
Great.
And you could tell he was about to maybe say his last name as an introduction, but then reined himself back in.
At this point, then I'll kind of step in between the two of you, not in like a defensive way, but just like, hi, I exist. And just kind of to Elle, Erin looks fine. Dakota did a fantastic job. But
Yeah,
I'd
she's
like to take a
incredible.
look at. She is. I'd like to take a look at you, if that is all right.
Oh, it's fine. It's a little fracture. It hurts. It's you don't need to worry about it. It's all good.
I look over at Dakota, kind of. I imagine you have seen this look on doctors before of, please help with this difficult patient.
And much like a liaison, Dakota walks over seamlessly between the two of them and does the, you really can let the doctor look at the wound, Elle.
And I think
It's
Elle,
not going
like
to hurt anything.
Elle definitely deflates having one of the two of them close by, and finally is like, it's fine. Yeah, like I told you, it's not a big deal. So I guess there's no harm in letting you see it. Sure. And like shrugs off their cardigan and shows you their like bruised and kind of swollen limp arm. It's not like compartment syndrome swollen, but it's just like inflammation swollen.
At that patient acquiescence, Dakota pivots away again seamlessly, almost like she's on a little Christmas rotator, like, and like moves away in this dance. I think to go be near Nancy, seeing Nancy as another kind of point of contact, and her intention is to question Nancy about what happened in the church, so we can table that conversation.
I mean, I'm just going to spend some time looking over Elle, testing for the fracture, trying to understand it. So if you want to do that while I'm thematically doctoring, please.
So Dakota would stand near Nancy, who is still holding the gun.
Yeah, like slung over my back.
And I think that makes Dakota a little nervous. So you'll notice she stands quite a bit further away from you than she was just standing near Alan, the doctor. You came from the pickup point, the original one at the church?
You know about the church?
We were at the church. We were directed there by my husband, ex-husband. It's complicated.
Yeah, things do tend to get complicated, but so you know about the church, you know about the pickup point. I didn't know it was a pickup point. You're one of the people who went out?
We came after whatever happened there happened, and we're directed here instead. But my husband said that he was there with my daughter, you see, and they're not here. And I just wondered, had you seen a little girl? Her name was Claire. She was with probably a taller man, business suit, tie.
I feel like Darren and Yasmin, obviously Nancy is the one having the conversation, and Joy, and they know the most. But like Darren and Yasmin particularly are like, oh.
I think Elle would notice Yasmin as she's whatever doctoring she's doing, she pauses and just like just keeps going.
Elle is also like eyes on Dakota fully. Like as soon as she heard the bringing up of the past checkpoint, Elle's honed in on Dakota.
Same.
I'm so sorry. If you were at the church after we left, then you saw some of the aftermath. A lot of people died there. And
Did you see
You
them
should sit
though? Did you
down.
see them? Did you see them there? Did you talk to them? Did you talk to her? She's very, very talkative, little girl.
I don't know about Claire. I am so sorry. I don't know where my own children are either. And I know what that feels like, but I can Jesus fucking Christ. Your husband was the first person to die.
Dakota just looks away, her hand to her chest, and like one hand against the wall or groping for the wall.
It was. I don't want to say there was nothing we could have done because we could have acted faster, but there was a man there, a priest, and. Before I tell you, do you want to know what happened? Or would you prefer not to?
No, I need to know. I need to know. I report everything that I do, good and bad. I need to know what happened.
Your ex-husband was sacrificed by the priest, thrown from the rooftop.
A human priest? A human priest.
The priest is gone now too. We killed him before we escaped, but he went crazy. He went mad before we could do that. But your daughter, Claire, I think she may have gotten out. I think she might have escaped through a window, but it was chaos. They were coming into the building. There were people dying, and he had a gun to Yasmin's head. There was only so much that we could do. I'm so sorry. I don't know what became of your daughter.
No, it's okay. It's not your fault. And like in typical nurse mode, she puts her hand on your shoulder. I'm sorry about your children too. I'm sorry you don't know where they are, and you've given me more hope in these moments than I've had in the past few days. What the fuck? She says, processing the news. Sacrificed?
I don't know. I don't know why that happened to the priest, but he was convinced that, I guess, the infected were God's flock, trying to add to it. It was horrific. Our group was twice the size, if not larger. And we lost almost everyone.
I'm so sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I should have gone about this a little bit differently.
No.
I should have had you sit down.
No, really. There's no right or wrong way to do any of this. I keep saying things are going to be okay, and that's not the right thing to say. And I keep saying things are not going to be okay, and that's not the right thing to say. We're just stuck in the middle of this space, and there's no right or wrong answer to any of this.
I know the feeling. I've been going around telling everybody, it's gonna be okay, baby. It's gonna be okay, because that's all that I've got. It's what I used to tell my kids when they had nightmares at night, but now the nightmare is real, and I don't know what to do with that. But
what are your kids' names?
Jess and Tommy, they were at Berkeley, so I don't know if I don't know if they're alive. I can't think about that. I can't process that it isn't something that I can let occupy my mind. But we know your daughter is close. We know Claire could be out there. So I don't think that's a bad hope to hold on to, baby. it's something. And if that gets you through this hour, through this day, that kind of hope's worth it. That's not the kind of thing that's gonna cripple you. We can find her. We can find her. And it's a good group of people. Yasmin is tough as nails, and Darren is Darren, but Joy is wonderful. And she's tough and she's smart.
We have a good group too. Erin is wiser than her years, even though she doesn't know it. And Ella's really taking care of all of us in ways that even as a nurse I'm unable to. And I'm still going. So thank you for the hope. I won't say any more about it though, in case I create a traditional writer's trope or something. Thank you, Nancy. And she reaches out for your hand to clasp it.
Mm-hmm. Nancy will take your hand and put another hand like on the side of your head and just kind of look at you and say, you've been through so much, and I can't tell you there's not going to be more to go, but you've got to keep your head up for Claire, for your friends. We can find her. If she's out there, we'll find her.
Thank you.
But, baby,
thank you so much.
I think you need to rest.
Do you have a cigarette? I could really use one.
Nancy like pats the sides of like this lovely like cardigan that she's wearing, and she finds a pack and she holds it out and she says, just don't tell my wife, okay?
I promise. Don't tell my... And she goes to say husband and stops short, lights the cigarette, and doesn't even take a drag, just holding it in her fingertips, like collapses onto your shoulders, Nancy, and just starts sobbing into your shoulders.
Yeah, Nancy was anticipating this moment and just very gently wraps one arm around your waist and holds one hand against your head and kind of turns so that other people, not that she really thinks people are going to be watching this in kind of a cruel way, but just to like give you privacy and give you that moment, and just very gently strokes your hair and is, whispering to you like, it's gonna be okay, baby. It's gonna be okay.
As soon as that happens, Darren kind of like backs away just a little bit. Not really talking to you guys, but just like I'm just gonna see what else is here. Make sure all the stairs are good. It seemed like there's no one in here. I'll be back. Don't worry. Be right back. And like goes out the door.
It looks like perhaps while you were walking and trying to help Aaron, you may have jostled your arm a bit. I'd like to reset it. It might hurt a bit, but it will give it a better chance of healing properly.
Will I be able to keep Aaron going? If it's... I kind of need to use both arms, so if we can wait until later, just so that we don't have to reset it multiple times, because I'm gonna keep using my arm. There's just no way I can't use my arm, so I'm gonna keep using my arm. And so if we wait, then maybe we just have to reset it.
Does Aaron hear this? That I was like refusing care. So Aaron, because still alcohol in my system, by the way, and is now very upset because of what happened with Dakota, and she was really hoping that Dakota would have like a happy ending. So she just looks over at Elle, and she's seen this side of Elle that she's never seen before, because she's never seen Elle as a cranky person, and Elle has been like cranky this entire time. And Erin just looks over and she's like, oh my God, Elle, let the doctor treat you.
I'm just being pragmatic,
Everybody here has arms. There's plenty of arms I can use.
They're
Let
right,
yourself be treated. or don't, whatever, and like slumps back into like her like couch world.
She's been drunk for like 4 days. Not even, I mean, it feels like 4 days. I don't actually think it's been 4 days. I think 4 days ago I was sitting in my apartment. It's fine. Yeah, okay. Sure, yes. Yeah, you can set it. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
How about this? And I look over where Dakota is sobbing in Nancy's arms. I'll give you a minute. Just take a breath. Try to, move your hand, not your arm. Don't move your arm. I'm just gonna like gently tie it down. Maybe take some, like, I find Tylenol or whatever. I'm going to check on there and I'll be right back. And then I'll get Dakota to help me fix it. Again.
No, don't bother her. Just you just do it. She doesn't need to. She's dealing with a lot of stuff. Don't bother her.
All right. In that case, I will reset the arm. I'll set it. I'll give Elle. I know we brought a lot of drugs with us, just an aggressive amount of drugs. So, for context, there was a drug dealer in the last 2 places ago. Anyway, and I bring one small painkiller over for Elle. It will make you a little sleepy, but I think we're safe. Please rest.
Did Aaron get one?
The alcohol in their system.
Yeah, true.
Mm-hmm. Don't worry. I'll give her some later. But for now,
okay.
Please rest.
Okay.
Mechanically, also, Elle, you are able to gain back 1 health point.
Hey.
And
Thanks,
Aaron,
Zach.
you are able to gain back 3 health points. If that brings you to full, that's great. You still have the injury and you still risk, like, let's say, for example, let's say Aaron falls down the damn stairs or something. You still risk opening that injury back up and getting those health points taken away again. So it's not like it's healed or anything by any means, but it's not life-threatening at the moment. Like, you're not going to bleed out from it or anything. So, yeah.
I'll get Elle settled and you're welcome. And go find Darren.
I actually think Darren would be up on the roof. And like that is where Yasmin would find him. And like he's not far away from the door, he's not like near an edge or anything like that. But like in the split second, kind of like, I don't know how you're opening the door or whatever. Are you trying to sneak up on Darren? Do I need to roll like stealth, perception spot checks?
Listen, we know how good Yasmin is at roofs. So I'm going to say she opens that she's being quiet enough that she would not alert, say, a frenzied, but not like actively trying to jump scare Darren.
I feel like there's a sense also of like, yeah, you two have only known each other for a day. But it's been also a century,
right?
It's been a century, it feels like. So there's this like familiarity of like the energy that the two of you kind of like are used to from each other. I think you would feel her approaching even if you didn't hear her approaching.
Yeah. I actually, because of what's happening, I think that is reasonably true. But right now, what Yasmin sees is Darren again, several feet away from the door, and like it's dark, the rain's coming down. Maybe he still has like a flashlight, right? He's not so dumb, but would see kind of like silhouetted Darren hunched over and just bawling his eyes out, is what she would say.
She'll step up and just kind of put a hand gently on his back, and just stand with him, offering comfort where she can.
Darren jumps so high. Even not he doesn't smack you with a flashlight because of what Carrie said of like there's a degree of like there's someone there and it's not someone who's trying to eat me. but Darren is fucking freaked out. And that like kind of snaps him out of it, just a little bit. And like he's still, it's dark and whatever. And any flash you get, his face is puffy and he is miserable in ways that you've seen him once or twice before in the last like couple days. And he is just kind of sniffling a little bit, and he just sorry, that was really it was really intense in there, and it just needed a minute. Yep.
I understand. I just wanted to check on you. Being outside by yourself is not safe.
No, you're you're right. Yeah. I mean, of course you're right. Do you think we saw Dakota's kid?
There are hundreds of thousands of children in this city. What are the odds?
I don't
I don't want to think of the odds.
I know, but it's just what if it was though, like even if it wasn't, and like I'm not going to say anything right now or whatever, and it probably wasn't, but what if it was, and then so many people have died, and I haven't known any of them. I haven't known anyone who was one of them. And like he's tearing up again. And like, they're people. They're people.
Did that just hit you now, Darren?
No.
I'd understand if it did. It's...
Look, you're a surgeon, right? Like, I remember watching an episode of Scrubs where I learned this, so it may or may not be true. But like, you think of a patient you're operating on as not a person, right? As just so you can do the things you need to do. And that's, I can't look at a person and shoot them in the head, right? I can't do that. And I haven't been doing that. But we maybe saw Dakota's kid. And he's like getting worked up again. I like people. I like people. I was going to sell my business a couple years ago. I'd made money. I was going to do it. And it was going to be a huge deal. It was going to set me for life. Finally live the mogul life that I was meant to be. And I didn't do it. And everyone was like, "Oh, wow, he's betting on himself. Oh, he's didn't get the right price." It was because I really liked people. And I can't, and that was maybe Dakota's kid. And like, that's all I can say. And just like, and that like, he was so just building up all this energy. And as soon as he says that, just like drains, like gone. There's no more energy or fire left. And he's just standing there in the rain, slumped over.
It's true, to an extent. I picture the pieces. Like when I was looking at Erin or Elle or even your eye, I was looking at an eye or a leg or an arm. But even the most successful doctors working in the field, working at the hospital, working in just the best hospitals, you still lose people. You don't lose a piece of meat on the table. You lose people. And You know what I did at the apartment?
Yeah.
What I had to do?
Yeah.
There's a point. I have to do no harm. That is the thing that I swore. And sometimes you have to do the math of what is harm. That little girl, whether she was Dakota's or not, was somebody's. I remember my nieces, my nephew. I remember my sisters when they were little. That little girl would have been running and playing just hours before. Whoever's little one it was. The illness can do terrible things. And that's what this is. And we are doing our best to do no harm. Us, all of us that are survivors of this infection. And we can mourn them. All of them. But we must first and foremost do no harm to those that are left. And that is at least partially giving hope. Yes.
Yeah, Darren just nods. And like he starts, ripping off some of the like duct tape or whatever, trying to, probably more likely, just kind of flailing at it and whatever, but starts just like walking back inside and just kind of like nodding.
I'll when you get to like the over part, I'll stop you when we're out of the rain, but we're not quite inside yet, and say, just Darren, I know you like to talk a lot, but just be quiet with me for a moment. Let's think of her daughter and the people we have lost, and let us just have a moment, please. We're not trying to fill the silence.
Yeah, Darren literally just like finds, fucking an AC unit or planter or whatever and just flops in the same way that Yasmin did earlier, just like against it and just eyes a little down but a little distant, but very, half there, half very not there, but just sits in silence.
I sit next to him and don't say another word.
Yeah, I think Elle has kind of like sunk down on the floor in front of the couch wherever Erin is and kind of has her head tipped back. Not like to be like laying on Erin, but to just like have the like distant touch knowledge of like, okay, she's there and I can see Dakota. And she reaches for her back pocket to pull out her notebook. And then remembers the last thing she wrote in the notebook, which is that the ones that can crawl up the walls, the really big, nasty ones, come out at night. And looking around the room and already noticing that there are 2 people missing, I think even without a word, Elle just like shoots to their feet and charges off out the door without like any explanation, just starts running up the stairs. And as I get closer to the top, I'm gonna like slow down so my footsteps aren't as loud, but still trying to go quickly.
Yeah, and Darren and Yasmin, you have a very nice silence. Nice is the best way it can be described. As nice as it can be, as you just hear the rain hitting the rooftop, and then you hear kind of the screech of the latch of the door as the door begins to open.
Ooh, that's a much better screech than I was emotionally prepared.
Yeah, that's not what I was expecting.
Ooh, charged language, Carrie.
Yeah, just for the record, I'm keeping an eye out for zombies. I'm just
yeah.
having a moment, but also not stupid.
I'm imagining Elle like either, I don't know, again, are you stealthing and kind of like peeking kind of situation?
I think like the instinct is to full bust out the door and be like, come inside. And then they have to like squelch that and really slowly like push open the door as quietly as possible, like wincing at every sound. And as soon as they make eye contact with either of you, come back inside.
Yeah, at first, before you do that, like, I'm imagining that Darren and Yasmin just like kind of do one of those, just like, hey, just very, just chill, like
different
exhausted.
energy.
Yeah, exactly.
If it was like a loud, sudden screech, I probably jumped up, pulled the pistol out from my back, and like pointed it in that direction, and then went, "Oh hi."
Come inside. No, come inside. I'm so serious right now. Come inside.
Darren kind of just like awkwardly kind of like rolls, does the thing where you kind of like don't stand up, you just kind of roll over it onto all fours and then kind of get yourself up. And then like is looking around. It's just, sorry, is something happening?
So we saw this thing. I think like as I'm saying this, I'm trying to like shut the door and latch it once we're all inside. So we thought this big spooky thing. It was terrible. It can climb walls. I don't know if you guys saw those. But they like nighttime. They like the nighttime. So outside at nighttime seems bad.
I'm having the worst deja vu right now because I'm pretty sure this
I was
exact
gonna
conversation
say,
happened.
I fucking stared at Eli as soon as you said that, for reasons that you'll just have to watch this show to learn about.
Eli and I are very similar. You'll learn.
Oh god. I'm sure I meet Darren's eye, and it's not a patronizing smile, don't get me wrong, but you're right. It is very dangerous at night. We've seen a number of them.
Good.
Yeah, we just needed a minute.
I understand. That's super fair. I just didn't want anyone else to die. So maybe have your quiet moment. I'll leave. You guys can keep having your quiet moment in the stairs. I'll go back downstairs. I just realized death is imminent in all directions, and Elle's eyes are just fucking huge.
Darren, as you're saying this, as your eyes are giant, Darren once again like makes the direct eye contact. But again, it is not like the I'm intimidating you kind of direct eye contact. It is like the
we're having a connection.
If you watched Parks and Recreation, what's his name, the Chris Traeger eye contact. It was L. But he does that and is like, thank you. I appreciate it. You did the right thing. You are right. Thank you for checking on us.
Sure. And like the prolonged eye contact is not something Elle's used to.
God,
So
just
they're
these
like,
two awkward people just staring into each other's eyes.
Yeah, pretty much. And then Elle's gonna awkwardly like turn around and like toddle back down the stairs and go back down. Just maybe come away from the door. I don't know. It broke through the glass. I don't know if it can break through a metal door.
Is there a
I
lock,
wouldn't put
Carrie?
it past it.
Yeah, one of those like latch. All of the doors have been affixed with like these latch locks.
Thank you, the military.
Mm-hmm.
Latch. We can just all assume we're just latching doors behind us at all times when applicable.
And then I think Elle will just leave them to their business, because I think she can definitely tell that like emotionally she's interrupted a moment that they were, kind of settling in. So I think she goes back downstairs and sits back in the same spot with Aaron and pulls out her notebook and starts just taking notes on all the new people.
I think Darren would be cool with. I mean, I think he would like exchange looks with Yasmin, but would be fine moving back in. Just again, sopping wet, just not looking good. But
Yeah, I'll check on Aaron when I get back.
As they come back down into the room, is Dakota still in Nancy's arms?
I think maybe she's at that point of this grief stage where she's trying to suppress. So she's like doing that thing where like she's snotted onto your cardigan and like just all of the facial fluids have like merged into your shirt, and she's trying to extricate herself from all that and mop it up and wipe and like just kind of have that calm presence again, but like still very close to you. And in her one hand is the cigarette, which is like burned down halfway at this point, unsmoked in her hand, kind of just she's forgotten it's there.
Nancy will take the cigarette and stomp it on the floor under her boot, and we'll light another one, put it in your hand. We'll go through the motions for you of bringing your fingers up to your mouth and say, all right, deep breath.
She like has a trembling hand and takes a drag, and all the other ones have brought her such calm, but this one, it's like she can't taste it, and she just exhales the grief and the smoke and looks at you and nods. Thank you so much.
Nancy looks at you and says, I knew from the moment that I saw you, I could tell that your group is here because you have carried them.
No, that's not true. That's not true at all. They're a strong group.
That might be true, but they have someone strong leading them. Baby.
I'm not a leader. She looks around like over her shoulder, like, who are you talking to?
Baby, sometimes you have to let somebody else carry you.
That's not what they taught me in nursing school.
Nancy smiles and says, you're a mother. You already know everything there is to know about leading and caring and nurturing. So let yourself feel what you're feeling. And when it passes, you've got to be tough for Claire. You've got to be strong for her because we're going to find her. This group is going to find her.
Don't say that, she says, pointing at you and looking sharply over at Elle. Don't say that. That's what gets us in trouble. I believe you, but you just can't say it out loud.
Dakota, it's the end of the world. Baby, we are already in trouble. It's not a time to be superstitious. But there's one thing I know. They don't call us mama bears for nothing, okay?
Here's to that. She smiles and looks over at Elle and looks back at Nancy. Although I will say, traveling with a writer has put things in perspective a bit. But I agree with you. I can't say I'm gonna sleep well tonight, but I am not giving up. I'm not giving up yet.
Good. She's out there. She needs you. And Nancy will take the cigarette pack out of her cardigan pocket and just hand it to you and say, I've got to go check on my people now, our people now. But if you need me, I'm here.
She takes the cigarette pack gratefully, like accepting a precious gift. That look in her eye when you open up something really highly valuable or desired at Christmas. It's like this gratitude. Puts it in the pocket, replacing the crumpled pack. Looks back at you, Nancy. What do you do for a living? Did you do for a living?
I raised my kids. And I raised good kids. And I don't know where they are now. But I think I found new kids to take care of. And for me, that's enough.
I can tell you did a fine job. And when we get out of this, if you have any questions about nursing school in your middle life, I think you'd be really good at it. I'm happy to tell you about my experience. I just graduated, and a lot of the things that you've shown me today, I think would do right by you in that setting.
Nancy smiles and says, well, you're gonna take that back immediately because my next advice is to smoke half that fucking pack.
She laughs. Yep, that's the part that wasn't on any of my tests, but it's the part that's kept me going. I'll be here too if you need me. And she grabs another one and kind of like, for safety, like she knows she has the whole pack of them, but she like takes another one out. Actually would offer it to you and be like, did I take your last pack?
Yeah, it's fine, but Liz has been trying to get me to quit for years. So, no time like the apocalypse, right?
Good luck. I'll save this one for you, she says, putting it back in the pack.
And Nancy will go over to Dan. Presumably, I can tell that his one eye has been crying a little bit, and he's soaking wet. And Nancy shrugs out of her cardigan, and it's dried a little bit. And even though it's probably a little bit grody from Dakota, Nancy says, "Darren, honey, you look a little bit cold. Why don't you slip this on? It might be a little small for you in the shoulders, but I don't want you catching a cold out there, okay?"
I mean, first, I think, Allison, you did a great job of describing all of the horrific fluids that were on it now. So kudos, kudos to you on that. And making this a little less appealing. But Darren, I'm sure, doesn't know. Yeah, Darren would be like, oh, yeah. We're all, I mean, should, okay. This is, I ask this respectfully, with equality, with I don't know other words. Should we not be in our all wet clothes right now? And I know I'm like extra but like it's not, I just don't want to give the wrong impression. It's just we shouldn't get colds. Are there extra clothing? Any
Darren, baby, I think you might have, when you were spray painting with Joy, I think you might have breathed in a little bit of the fumes. Why don't you go?
I always heard that was a thing.
Yes, exactly. And I'm not a doctor, but I'm guessing Yasmin would agree with me. Maybe we sit down and we cross our legs and we just kind of take deep breaths for a little while, and you let Mama see if I can find something dry to put on, all right? And if I find something, I'll give it to you, but you're a little bit on edge.
I'm imagining Nancy is like the only energy that could, like, Darren is starting to like get wound up again, of just like, now is like the pendulum is swinging back, right? After a big expulsion of energy, and is starting to rev up, and you just say like, why don't you just sit and stop? And Darren does the thing of like, he's like still talking to you as you are like leading him over to a corner, and is like, well, I just wanted to be sure that we're all like taking care of ourselves and that kind of thing. And you get what I mean. And it's just, but like is led into a corner wrapped in blanket or cardigan or whatever, and just kind of like sits there.
And Nancy will kind of like take you by the face and look in your eyes and say, Darren, just gotta sit here, gotta rest, got to relax a little bit, just a little bit, maybe even take a little bit of a nap. When my kids were grouchy, that always seemed to work. So just close your eye and rest and relax, and I'll try to find some more blankets. And he's just kind of at this point covered in like all of the extra clothing, anything that is in the room that is extra, that isn't being used, he's already covered in it. But Nancy's like, oh, I'll find more.
He's just like slowly slinking down under the weight of both the care and blankets, and is just not like going to sleep, not like nuzzling in or whatever, but is now just like kind of like awkwardly at like a, this angle, like technically not laying down, but mostly laying down, and just kind of like semi-grumpily, just like all right, fine. And just kind of like you see his eyes just kind of like, or his eye, it's just scanning, keeping an eye on things, but like nominally relaxing.
Yeah, you're doing great, bud. Doing great.
I
And I'll-
think,
yeah.
Yeah, I think Joy actually would have the best idea of what is inside of this huge chest that's under the table, having been over there and kind of like, you know, being off as alone as you can be in this room. Like you just kind of like went back into your own space and you have peeked inside of this chest. There's food, there's water, there's like rubbing alcohol, there's different sanitizing like wipes, but there's also clothing. You just see mostly like mass amounts of like plain white unisex t-shirts, like just dry clothes that you could easily hand out.
If Joy was looking at those supplies and stuff like that, at some point will all of these adults have been like just, you know, connecting with each other? Could Joy have like taken maybe a couple supplies and then go wander off somewhere?
Sure, like onto one of the other floors, I'm assuming not outside.
Yeah, onto one of the other floors.
Yeah, absolutely.
We just awkwardly pass each other on the stairwell as we're coming down from the roof, and you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, no, I was gonna go up there."
I'm just hoping I bypass all of you guys.
Yeah, I think that would be easy enough. Are you doing anything specific, or are you just kind of wanting to be off by yourself?
I'm trying to be off by myself, but I also have like spray cans, so I'm just stopping in random places and tagging, but just kind of just wandering around,
Okay.
just trying to be alone.
Yeah, fair enough. And easy enough with the events that have occurred. But I would say Nancy would be able to go over, like scoot the chest out from under the table and start throwing dry clothes at people.
Put it on. Put it on.
Yasmin will take the clothes, look at you, not question it, but go out into the hallway and find somewhere private to change.
And the rest of you, I know I don't have any real authority over any of you, but would it be more hygienic if you changed into sweatpants that aren't covered in blood and viscera?
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah,
Taryn
so-
kind of like looks down at themselves and is like, well, I just got these, but okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Put these on. You're gonna put those on. Anybody else need a change of clothes? Need to get warm and comfy. It might be the last opportunity we get for a while.
No. Thank you. Aaron, do you
All right.
need a hand?
Yeah, I was gonna say, can we like, I don't know, hobble over there into a corner or something? Like, I just feel very new people.
For sure. I'll use my good arm and I'll kind of pull her over into a corner.
Like put up like a blanket.
Yeah.
I think in the like privacy of that corner, I'm gonna be like, how are you feeling with, all of this?
Feeling as in like feeling, or feeling as in like feelings?
Yes.
I mean, the alcohol's kind of starting to wear off.
That's probably for the best.
Is it though? Yeah, I guess. Because, like, it's not really helping with the pain anymore. It's just kind of like the pain's not a part of me right now. I don't know. It's weird. How are you, by the way? Are you okay? Because, like, I've never seen you angry before.
Yeah. I don't deal with change super well just as a person. And then there's been a lot of change. And then that dude told us to use our inside voices, and that just kind of set me off.
I would
as
say
an adult.
suggested, says Nathan, not Darren.
And I don't super deal with business people well. That was never my side of things. I just wrote and then I gave it to my agents or my editors, and they dealt with that. So I was a little harsh, and that is my bad. I should probably apologize.
I mean, I don't know. I don't really like suits myself much, but
I would have been surprised if you did.
yeah, it's not really my vibe.
Also, you're deflecting.
What?
You're deflecting.
What does that mean?
You know what that means. You take care of children. You know what deflecting is.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Aaron, you've been through probably the most of all of us. Well, I mean, I can't speak for them. They've been through some shit too, but
I don't know. I feel like Dakota's kind of like top tier, been through stuff at this moment.
well,
I
on
mean,
a physical
I
level,
have another
guess.
foot. You know.
keep saying that though. Just because you have an extra doesn't. It's not even an extra. It's just
Extra
have-
foot in my pocket.
you don't have an extra. Elle's just like, I think Elle's so tired because they haven't slept well, and it's just been a chaos that they just kind of start giggling at the thought of Aaron having an extra foot in their pocket.
Hey, you know, an extra foot would come in handy if we needed another diversion, you know, because like I don't know if I can donate this one to the cause. I still need to
you need at
keep-
least one.
I need something.
It felt very strange to throw the foot of someone I just met out a window.
Technically I had permission, so like consent was there, you
That
know.
was there.
Yeah, it's fine. I get it. I feel like, however, though, you know, if we get out of this in like, I guess, the pieces I have now, I should specify. I want a really cool peg leg. Like I want like a good one, and I want it like like I feel like you could help me with this. We could make it like a memorabilia piece,
Oh, absolutely.
you know? And
I mean,
then
my show's still running, ostensibly, if New York isn't in hell. So anything I get from that is going to your leg and then us going to Alaska.
yes.
You, me, and Dakota,
I like this plan.
Claire.
Yeah, about that. So are we leaving on this pickup thing if there's a random
You're
child
leaving on
maybe
this pickup
wandering?
thing,
Oh,
for sure.
Okay.
I mean, that sounded like I was telling you what to do. I wasn't trying to tell you what to do.
I mean, it's fine because like Nancy lady told me what to do, and like I was totally okay with it.
Yeah, she's got like
She's good. I like her.
she's got like the mom voice down.
Yeah. Can we keep her? I like them. I mean, I guess we can keep them all. That'd be good. I'm just
Yeah.
saying she's like her hands were very warm and nice.
Oh.
And I like the doctor
Mm-hmm.
and that one over there. I kind of want to get to know her, but I don't want to scare her because like she seems cool. Like that one that with the paint. I kind of want to ask her if I can use some paint. But anyway,
I will
Teenagers are kind
note
of, like,
too, as you're like
intimidating.
pointing over, Joy's not there with the paint anymore, but like you know who you're talking about, and
Yeah.
and just continue on.
also, Erin very much is still kind of tipsy, obviously, because she's been drinking for 4 days and is not paying attention to her voice level at all whatsoever, just so everybody is aware. And I guess the suit could come in handy at some point, but I don't know. I can't. And Erin's just like goes off and dissociates into silence.
I think I'll help her. Like, I'll stop grilling her and I'll help her get the pants up and tied and everything. And then on like a weird impulse that she doesn't quite know how to handle, once Erin's like settled, and Erin's like a good few inches shorter than her, she'll just kind of awkwardly lean in and just peck the top of her head
Aww.
and just be like, You're getting out of here. You're getting out of here.
Okay, but when you write your book about this, like, make sure I had a better reason to chop my leg off. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah,
Crunchy
it'll
ankle
be...
is not the thing I want to be known for, just so you know.
No, I'll make sure it's super cool.
Like, I fought one of those big ones, and then it,
Oh
like,
yeah.
chopped my ankle off, and
I
then
mean,
we
you
had
did
to,
fight
like,
one of the big ones.
and then we had to, like, yeah, make it really dramatic.
Of
Like,
course.
go ham.
Oh, I will.
Full permission.
I have my notes, so
Can you just sign this saying that I have permission for creative liberties?
It might be hard to track down people in that after times with kind of current state of the world. So gotta get that contractual consent now.
yeah, that's a good point.
Can you just, hey, Elle,
Mm-hmm.
can you just, like, sit with me?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll just like once we pull the towel down and she's back over on the couch, I'll just kind of like push her into a corner so that she's got something on both sides.
As a bookend to this, while this scene is happening, I think Dakota will excuse herself, have another 5-minute cry alone in the hallway, shoulders shaking, weeping kind of a cry. And then hearing the sound of paint spray from somewhere in the complex, follow that, and then lean in the doorframe, just watching Joy work, with kind of just dry tears on her face. And she doesn't say anything at first, just watches her doing the art and creating this. And after a pause, just says, "You're pretty good."
Jesus.
Oh, sorry. We've been in very small rooms this whole time, so I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Are you okay? Have you been crying?
Yeah.
You okay?
No. But it's not your fault, and it's not your burden, kid.
Okay.
Don't let me interrupt you. Really, I needed the distraction.
Okay. Can I ask you something though?
Yeah.
What part of town did you guys come from? Like, where were you guys going?
I met this group in a high-rise office building, and we were headed originally to the lake, to my husband's place where my daughter was staying. He's got a boat and a bunch of shit he doesn't need, and I thought maybe finally it would come in handy. But then he texted and said to come to the church, and, that we could get out that way, and well, there was no one there alive when we got there, and we carried on from there to here, following the note that was left.
Oh, okay. I was just kind of wondering. I mean, I ended up at the church when everything started, and then that was dealing with the church, and then now I'm here. Yeah.
Where are you from originally?
I'm from here. I live in an apartment complex not too far down the street. It's where my mom and I used to live, I guess.
She almost like doesn't want to ask, but then does, just almost in spite of herself. And your mom?
I don't know where she is. I mean most days I don't know where she is anyways, so it's just been kind of me on my own anyways. So if she's out there, cool, good for her. So yeah.
Where'd you learn to chi gestures at the art?
I had a friend that I had in high school. Don't know where they are either. But yeah, when we got together, they used to go to like some rec center thing. Somebody taught them how to do that, and used to spend the whole summer just painting and stuff. So I just kept kind of doing it. My mom hates it, and I get in trouble a lot for it, but it doesn't kind of matter. It's nice.
It is nice. Like I said, it looks good, and don't let me stop you. She leans against the door frame and just kind of watches the paint dry, literally, zoning in and out and occasionally making small talk with Joy.
Yeah, I'm painting like what looks like a church and stuff like that, and I'm also just kind of like writing down all the names of the people that I got to meet at the church and those who didn't make it. But that's about it. And then just talking with Dakota.
Can I go to Dr. Khan?
Yeah.
So
I am, for the record, when you gave me clothing, I left because there's a man in the room. So I would have found a random apartment, office, whatever. And this is probably the first time you have seen Yasmin without a scarf because there's no men around. And this is the first time she's probably literally taken her hair down in days. And so when you walk in, she's changed. The scarf is gone, but she's got like almost to her mid back, just long black, thick, wavy black hair that she's finally been able to actually just let out. So when you knock, she kind of probably assumes it's not Darren because Darren is not the knocking type, and just like invites you in.
Nancy comes in and is a little bit surprised to see her hair down and checks with you and says, is it all right for me to be here? I don't know all of your traditions, but I wanted to check on you. Everybody... Oh, go ahead.
I appreciate that.
Everybody here has been through something terrible, and I don't want to put more on them than they can take, more than they can handle. But there's something that's been bothering me, Yasmin, and I can keep it to myself, but if you're willing to hear it, I would like to share.
Of course. Please. If there's chairs, we'll sit, I guess. If not, we'll sit on the floor.
Nancy will sit fairly close to you, and she says, there are notes in the other room about the extraction point, the evac point. It feels like we were led here, like people were led here. But if this is a safe place for us to be, to pass the night, why aren't there more people? These things couldn't have been left for us specifically, could they? So what happened to the people that they're really for?
Well, I mean, Darren found them at the church, right? Perhaps they were dropped somewhere, places where people would congregate, right?
I will also note for both of you, after your discovery of the Reverend's office, so to speak, it seems the Reverend was keeping people from coming to this spot. The Reverend was keeping people in his church instead of sending them off to this zone.
Not everybody has access to the weapons and the expertise that we have had, the luck we have had. So I don't want to say that there is no one else left, because that is not something I am willing to believe just yet. But perhaps we were just lucky.
Maybe. I don't disagree with you. I think there's maybe a little bit more than luck involved, at least with some of it. But we've all been through something terrible, multiple things terrible in the past 48 hours. But right now, I feel like you and I might be the only ones who are, I don't know, completely of sound mind, not hobbled so much by grief. And I wanted to thank you, and I'm glad that we got through the church together. I'm glad that we're here together, and Jesus fucking Christ, I think our half of us are wounded. But I'm glad that it's you and me, and that we've got each other and that we've got them.
I don't want to say we'll be fine, but we've done all right so far. We've done all right so far. I have to ask though, I mean, I can't stop thinking about my nieces and nephew, my sisters. I don't have children. That is not for me, but I've heard, even overhearing Dakota, the feelings of, I don't know, attachment. It sounds trite to say it that way, but I am a little surprised you are not breaking up at the seams. You are a strong woman. I appreciate that, but are you not worried about them?
There's something about being a mother, and my own mother was incredibly superstitious, and she used to tell me that she could always tell when I was upset or worried or hurt. And I didn't believe it until the day this all started. And before anything was on the news, before there was screaming in the streets and people running and cars crashing, it was like there was something dropped into the bottom of my stomach, and I knew that they were gone. And I can't get to California. There's no getting to California to check and to find people who are already gone. So I'm trying to do what I can with the time that I have for the people who still have their families out there, for people like Dakota and Claire, and for people like you and your nieces and your nephew. I think my kids are gone. I think my wife is gone. But Claire's out there. Your family could be out there. And there's people in this group that need someone who can carry them. And I'll do that.
Yasmin holds out a hand.
And Nancy will take it. And where it's usually Nancy's hand that's being held tightly and squeezed when someone's in pain, for the first time since all of this began, Nancy will take your hand, and she's the one who's doing the squeezing. And she says, "Thank you. I think together we can carry them all."
Absolutely.
In parallel to the squeezing hand, you see Dakota's hand squeezing down on the spray paint that she's borrowed from Joy, finishing writing Claire's name on the wall. And she looks over at Joy and says, "Could you teach me how to, I don't know, I saw you trying to teach the suit. My husband used to wear suits like that. He was not very artistic. Can you help me color in some of the details you have here? I'd like to help.
Sure. Joy will go like rummage through, like try to shake a can, see if there's anyone that's still like full still, and then hand it to her. And then try to like explain that about like how to like squeeze it like in different ways to make different types of like patterns and stuff like that, and you know, just kind of trying to explain the whole process, and you know, kind of also saying that it's just not about whether or not you're doing it right or wrong. It's just as long as you kind of get it, you know, doesn't matter. But yeah, slowly showing Dakota how to do it.
And she'll color in some of the details on the church. And she thought she came here to mother Joy, the youngest person here. And it turns out she, I guess, just wanted to learn from the youngest person here. And she completely leans into this like child state of learning how to color in the lines and listening to Joy teach her. And that's how she spends her time grieving and worrying. And it's just this detail of her hand kind of with the spray bottle, humming a little bit every now and again and asking Joy some questions about her life and things she likes and hobbies, and kind of poking a little bit in the way she used to ask Claire how her day at school went to find out some details that Joy wouldn't otherwise share.
Yeah, Joyce, for the most part, is receptive. Sometimes might not answer all the questions, but so will for the most part engage, because it's just a little bit of just having something normal to do or have somebody to talk to.
At the end of the conversation, she'll ask, "How old are you?"
I'm 16. I'll be 17 in like 2 months, if it really even matters.
It matters. Happy early birthday.
Thanks. I'm sorry about Claire. I don't know where she is, but you know, it still sucks.
It does suck.
I hope you find her.
I can't say if we will or we won't, but I want to.
I think after our quiet moment, Yasmin would excuse herself. She would invite you to join, but it has been too long for her since she has been able to properly pray. So she would do that and then return to the main room, check on Elle and Aaron without waking them up if they're asleep, just to make sure they're fine. And then just find a corner or a cot and re-scarved, go to sleep.
Nancy will absolutely pray with you if you invite her. And after you've prayed together and you've found your own corner, Nancy will find a corner as well, but she doesn't sink down into it. She doesn't sit. She doesn't rest, but she's also not pacing. She just is making sure everyone else is falling asleep. And unless Yasmin has taken it back, or requested it back rather, Nancy still has the AK on her back, and unless someone really wants to fight her for it, she will happily take that first watch, however long that shift might be.
I think Joyce is gonna find a cot and use her backpack as a pillow, and then just like knock out like a kid does.
Aaron's just passing it out on the couch. Just probably leaning on Ella a little bit. If that's okay. And pass it.
If there's any battery left on Dakota's phone, she'll take a picture of the mural of the church and the names, and then come back to the room. And I think she would gravitate towards Al and Aaron out of familiarity and kind of their group dynamic from before, and so she'd probably sleep near them.
I think Elle, not intentionally, stays up, just kind of watching everyone filter in and checking, and eventually realizes that she and Nancy are the only ones awake. And kind of sits up a little straighter, and not enough to jostle Erin, just enough to kind of like get her attention. And loud enough to carry across the room, but quiet enough not to wake anyone, will say, you mentioned Berkeley? I heard. I wasn't trying to listen, but it's a small room.
You're fine. Yeah. My kids, Tommy and Jess, were students there. Tommy's senior. Jess is a first year.
California. That's a big move from Chicago.
Yeah, well, my kids were always smart and ambitious, and I wanted the most for them.
You must be very proud.
I am. I am.
I don't think this is everywhere. I managed to talk to my wife in New York. She said it's not there. She said it's kind of concentrated here, so once you get out of here, you can make your way to California, right?
Once I make it out of here, it would be very lovely to think so.
I don't plan on anyone else dying, so it's a win.
Oh. I've got the AK. I'm rested. I feel fine, but your group has been through a lot. And you helped carry them here, so I've got this watch, but I'll wake you for the next.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. And like Elle looks like they want to say something more, but stops himself and kind of snuggles down so Erin's a little more horizontal, and then reaches a hand out to just like grab Dakota's ankle wherever she is and falls asleep.
And as Nancy watches Elle and watches her carefully to make sure that, her chest is kind of rising and falling and making sure that everybody's resting, Nancy will go over to the table and anything she can find, like broken leg off of a table or glass, anything that could be used as a weapon, and she starts stockpiling all of it. And she'll find maybe like a little switchblade or like a little piece of glass, and she'll start carving, just as she did with the crucifix in the church, start carving as many like shanks and other sorts of weapons as she possibly can, while she listens to the rain fall outside into the quiet sleeping and snoring of her new kids.
After a few hours, you hear the storm passing. You can see just the faintest bit of light coming through the tiniest cracks of these boarded up windows. They're boarded up pretty well, so it's quite literally like just cracks of light that are able to shine through. The clock, it's probably around 10 or 11 a.m. by the time the storm rolls through. So everyone's been asleep about 4 hours. And you have collected a decent amount of items to be weapons, whether they are things that were put in here, like there would probably be a few different like police baton style weapons. There would be, you mentioned table legs. You can absolutely kind of bust up a little bit of the wood in here and make a few different weapons that way. You have a decent amount of melee weapons kind of like stocked up on the table now. Do you wake anyone up for a watch? You are getting very tired, but that is up to you.
Nancy thinks about it and sees that, Elle is holding Dakota's ankle and sees how close they are and how tired they are. And Nancy kind of blinks her eyes, pats her face a little bit, and she will power through.
Hours pass, and it's probably sometime in the afternoon when people begin stirring and kind of waking up on their own. It's up to you how long you were sleeping. Who do you think would be the first of you to kind of wake up?
I feel like Yasmin is used to doctor's hours, which is to say crazy hours. So she probably would wake up maybe first, just because she's just used to it. But,
Yeah, I think Yasmin and Dakota both probably would be two of the first ones to stir. Arguably, I think Joy would probably be one of the last, just because teenagers sleep for fucking ever.
Absolutely. I want to be cozy until I can't be.
I will probably wake up, look over, see Nancy still awake, go over and put a hand on her shoulder. For the love of all things, go to bed. I've got this.
Nancy looks up at you and eyes that are just clearly so like heavy with sleep, and she says almost incoherently, "Yeah, I think that might be a good idea, baby. All right, you take the AK. I'm gonna go." And she just immediately passes out.
I will spend the morning cleaning the gun. However, one does that.
Dakota will
Amazing.
get breakfast ready, aka open up some cans of garbanzo beans that they brought with them from the apartment.
Wonderful. So I'll say, Aaron, Elle, and Darren, you are waking up to two sounds. One is the sound of Yasmin
Fucking
cleaning
don't
this
do it, Carrie.
AK-47.
Don't do it.
And the other sound, garbanzo beans,
Thank Christ.
being opened, and nothing bad. I don't know what you guys are so afraid of.
No,
When has
can't think
anything
of
bad
one
happened
thing.
in this show?
Can't think of one
Scary.
thing.
Those sounds. And screaming. No, I'm just kidding. You don't hear screaming. But yeah, you hear those two sounds as you're kind of like stirring and beginning to wake up. And you just see, how is Joy, what do they see of Joy as they're waking up? Like, how is Joy just passed the fuck out right now?
Joe's got like one leg like off the side of the thing. Like it's not pretty. Like the head pressed into the backpack pillow. It's just light snoring. Like them like turning over, trying to like hearing this noise of garbanzo beans and a gun being cleaned, just trying like moaning really loud while rolling over and putting like the blanket over their head.
Dakota has all the energy of a Folgers commercial, despite the fact that there's no coffee, just garbanzo beans.
Fucking kill me.
Well, there was food here. Maybe there's some
I was gonna ask
instant coffee.
Carrie, what are the supply situation? I mean, not to Darren obviously is not one to look a garbanzo bean, in the eye, but or be upset about garbanzo beans, but just so that we know going into our last 24 to 36 hours, what all do we have? And it can be general, obviously, too. Don't need to get into specifics, but
Yeah, there's a lot of
and are they like packaged in like a military kind of way where it is like
Yes.
very utilitarian, like meal on the go kind of
yeah, a lot of those meals. You do see bottled water as well, and that's probably the extent of it. I don't think they would have gathered up anything else. It would be very simple. So honestly, like the garbanzo beans are probably some of the more tastier options, but
Also, Dakota's insistent that we get rid of them because they're really heavy.
I wasn't thinking about weight when I was packing the bag. I was mostly thinking about getting all the things we needed.
No, this is perfect. And we can, I mean, there's plenty of people here to eat them with us, so we'll go through them this morning.
Good point.
I've separated the water from the beans, so if anyone wants just the water, that could be like a special treat. That's in the bowl over here.
aquafaba, I think. is what it's called. Aquafaba, yeah.
Aaron, I'm gonna have you make a composure roll for me.
Okay, I can do that.
You know, Aaron, when Jen put a weakness to garbanzo beans on Aaron's character sheet, really didn't think it was going to come up, and here we are.
So I'll let up
I got
to
a
this
17.
moment.
Damn. Okay.
No.
In stone cold.
Wow.
Aaron is trying really hard to like keep composure, I guess.
So like this is the first sober experience you're having.
Oh
with your
God.
leg.
You're 20. You're 21 or whatever. You know, you're resilient.
This is the first sober experience you're having with your leg. But you succeeded, so it doesn't end in like you having any sort of like meltdown or anything like, what the fuck did we do? It's nothing like that. You feel the pain. That is what is really getting you, is, you know, the painkillers are out of your system, the booze is out of your system, and you are hurting. So there's probably this like scared silence of, okay, if I open my mouth, I might actually like yell in pain. So as you're waking up, there's just this like grimace to you.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so she would be very like in her head like, okay, remember when Bobby broke his arm and there was a little bit of bone sticking out, and how horrible he must have felt, and like he did it, so you got this, right? Like, so she's very like, got this, you got this. Is Elle still like sitting next to me? Are you still sitting?
Yeah. At some point, my other arm has kind of just like gone around your shoulders, almost like a teddy bear.
Mm-hmm.
And if I sense any tension, I'm just gonna start like scratching your head and like petting your hair.
Okay.
I don't think trying to draw attention to it, just like that innate human sense of like there is tension in this other human and I want to ease it.
Yeah, that makes sense. So Aaron's gonna like lean into Elle a little bit and be like, hey, so I don't know if you want to get Dakota. Like, I don't want to alarm anybody, but this fucking hurts.
Yeah.
And like, I don't necessarily know if more booze is the answer since we're probably moving or something. But like, I just holding it together. Did not know not having a body part would hurt as much as having hurt body part. But here we are. So maybe just I don't want people to think, I don't want anybody to know that I'm like,
sweetie, no one's gonna judge you. We cut off your foot on a table. No one's gonna judge you, babe. And I'll just like pull her a little closer, and respecting her wishes, but also wanting to get things done quickly. I'll try and catch Yasmin's eyes because she was the one that gave me the painkillers. Whenever she looks up from the gun,
I
just
imagine
really subtly.
Yeah, I imagine we're in the same room, so
Yeah.
I can hear that. So please excuse the dog. I come over and just check you both over with a bottle in my hand. and just like, okay, we're going to make sure that it's fine. It's probably fine, but for now, take this. Here's some water, and give you both a
Nice,
small
healthy
amount.
breakfast.
Yeah, drugs. It's great.
Drugs and beans.
Yeah.
The title
Not
of my
enough.
autobiography, actually.
The vegan
Not
stream.
enough to knock him out, but enough to dull it a little bit.
I think when Yasmin's focused on Aaron, I'm gonna try and slip the pill in my pocket, just in case anything happens and we don't have access to it later, just so we have an extra in case one.
Elle and Aaron are like trying to one up each other on like who cannot take care of the most. Like
Not intentionally.
not
just, like-
intentionally, but it's just like
Darren's
I'm
like,
gonna
I'll
do
take
this
that.
for you. No, I'm gonna
Who
say
can be
this
the
You're not
most
using-
difficult patient?
Yeah. I mean, I will be keeping an eye out because I've had difficult patients. So, like, should I make a perception check or something?
Yeah, do I need to
Like-
sneak this?
Yeah, I would say yes.
Can I give the doctor advantage as I'm also keeping an eye on these?
I think you could probably
Sneaky
make a
folks.
separate. You
Ragamuffins.
could probably make a separate roll yourself.
Okay.
It'll be a spot listen for the two doctors.
This was the most wasted roll, you guys.
Oh,
The
no.
most wasted. I rolled a 1.
No.
A fucking 1. What a waste.
I don't know.
Oh my
That's a
God.
powerful character thing, though. Like
Yeah.
honestly, like I get it. But like it could have been way worse. It could have been like I rolled a 1 to open the can of garbanzo beans. Like it could have been way shittier. This at least is like, no, you do not fucking, you
In
do
line
not
with your character.
slip. Yeah, you do not slip not taking your meds past these two.
Yeah.
Dakota failed that with a 62 over 40. So I think she is just like believing Aaron and Elle's act at this point and has
Yeah.
completely been taken in
Yeah.
with their
And I think-
presentation.
Probably
know
a little
how to-
more concerned with Aaron too, like making sure that, hey, you know, how you feeling? You're not drunk this morning, so like, make sure you take this, please. Here, have some food. Like bringing the food over and everything. Not really concerned about what Elle's doing.
Elle
what
rolled a
did-
91 and absolutely failed. So
Oh,
as soon as far as
Wow.
like I rolled a 1, I was like, I'm fucked. And then I rolled a 91 and I was like, I'm fucked.
Not
Yeah,
even
so
fucking
Yasmin,
close.
Elle's got like full brat energy going on.
Don't read Elle.
Sorry.
It's true, but don't read.
I did not consent to being perceived today.
It's usually my wife that sees that energy.
Hey, we've had some moments. I'm just saying.
Dying. Yeah, I see you go to put it in your pocket and you just get like dead glare. Like not a glare like a mean glare, but like
Elle tries to hold it for an impressive amount of time, but eventually awkwardly sticks her hand back in her pocket, doesn't break eye contact. This is an eye contact she's comfortable with. The challenging eye contact. And puts it in her mouth and swallows it dry.
good. Then I go back to tending Aaron.
Besides when everyone is sleeping, that is the quietest it's been in here. That
Everyone
was
just watching
incredible.
this fucking standoff is like,
Everyone's like,
Yeah.
what's gonna happen?
Who will win?
Amazing.
An upset Puerto Rican playwright. Or
Darren is pretty chipper in the morning, relatively speaking. But I think eventually, relatively quickly, he starts kind of investigating the building a little bit. Just to like, we still don't really know what building, like what this building is, what is in here, other than cool, it is boarded up, it is safe, all that kind of thing. And doing a little bit of scrounging and that kind of thing. That's something he enjoys doing. Just kind of seeing what knickknacks he can find and put together. but what Darren is looking for, and I don't. Maybe he tells people. I think he would only tell people if he finds something. But what Darren is looking for is Darren wants to make like a flag or a sign or something, because Darren knows that others are out there. They must be right somewhere. And I think even though he wasn't a part of the conversation with, I think it was Nancy and Yasmin, he also believes that like there has to be other people out there, and maybe we did just get lucky to get here, but that doesn't mean other people shouldn't try to get here.
I think at some point I pass Erin off to someone, just so she's not alone. And then I'm gonna go find Dakota and kind of pull her into a separate room as well, if she's amenable.
Yeah, I'd like to think maybe. So Dakota's intention was to again tag the building with Joy. So maybe bringing Erin into that space, carrying her, walking her over to show the church scene, and so maybe leaving Erin and Joy together in that mural room. If you're okay with that, Erin and Joy, for that setup.
Yeah, totally.
And so she'll step out from the painting area and be alone with Elle. Yeah.
Okay, I guess first I want to apologize for yesterday. I shouldn't have told you not to say that. Hope.
Oh,
is important. And
no, it's fine. Really.
no,
I mean, if anything, I don't want to say that and then like something terrible happens right after. I understand.
I mean, the universe.
I've read some books. I get it.
I don't know. I just don't think the universe cares that much, and I let my own superstition get in the way of things, and that wasn't fair to you, especially when you're kind of on the search for, the most important thing in the world to you. So I'm really sorry.
Don't apologize. Really. If anything, it's I'm a mom, but I'm a nurse at heart. I'm practical. And I want more than anything to find her, but I don't know if we will or if we won't. And it's a good reminder that I'm just living in the present, always. That's all I can control. You have good rider's instincts. She pokes your shoulder, the good one. Ding.
No, I panic about silly little things, but it's nice of you to say. Actually, on the note of Claire and wanting to find her, we only have a few more hours of sunlight, and then they're going to be here in the morning. Are you going with them?
I wasn't planning on it. Not without her.
I didn't think you were.
But I didn't want to cause a scene,
I'm useless here. Truly. Every skill set I worked my whole life to make good doesn't matter now. And I think that's why I was freaking out so much the last few days. And now that I've come to that realization, I want to do something worthwhile. And helping you find your kid is worthwhile. So if you want...
What about your wife? What about Alaska? You have to get out of here.
No,
don't be silly.
Erin is going to Alaska. I'm gonna send my notebook with her, and she's gonna find my wife, and my wife is gonna do what she's doing. And my wife probably doesn't want to see me ever again anyway. So
you don't know that.
I would rather you have someone watching your back than go into a situation that I can't face. I can't face it if she doesn't want to see me again. I can't face that. So I would much rather go about something hopeful for you than hopeless for me. If you want help.
I can't stop you from doing what you're gonna do. And I'm honestly touched that you would care so much about me and about Claire. And you haven't even met Claire. She's great. She's a great kid, though. You'd love her. I think much in the way that Elle is stuck in this unknowing of how her wife will receive her, and she wants to make the choice to not make that choice, to not experience that. I think Dakota too is like turning towards this space of uncertainty. She'd rather be in this space where she doesn't know, where there's still hope. All right then, Elle. I'm not forcing you into this by any, please don't. I can do this on my own. But if you want to come, I'd like you to meet her.
I don't think anyone survives alone. I think it's a human need to find people to be in community and not. I don't know. It doesn't seem right to have you go off alone to find her.
Thanks. I appreciate it more than you know.
It's a little selfish of me, but
That's human too. All right. Well, let's see Aaron off then.
yeah, we get our
When they
girl out
come.
of here and then we find yours.
Laska's not ready for her.
No, she's not.
And while that was happening, we have Aaron and Joy. Sort of. I don't think the two of you have interacted yet, have you? Yeah, so there's just this moment of like, hey.
Just like chilling on the floor because like Dakota just left me there. So I'm just like, I like your that. Yeah.
Thanks.
Did you like take classes? Did you just kind of practice? Like how'd you learn how to do cool stuff like that?
Started with one wall and then it just kept continuing on with more walls till I got this.
It's good stuff.
Do you art?
I guess if you wanna like include those adult coloring pages, I art.
Sure.
It's colors. I mean, I don't know anything about color theory or any of that fancy stuff, but like I know how to color things. Maybe.
I mean, I don't know what color theory is either, so I guess we're both on the same page.
Nice.
Nice.
So, what grade are you in?
I'm supposed to be a senior. Are you? Yeah. Have you had to kill anybody?
Maybe, perhaps. Have you had to kill anybody?
You'll never know. Is that how you lost your foot?
Oh, this. Yeah, we jumped from one building to another building, and I completely lost my footing, and yeah.
Oh, did you?
Okay, though.
Did you like break your ankle? Like it got all crunchy? Like
Yes. It definitely got crunchy. And then I ran on it a bunch, and then I just kept ignoring it, and eventually, well, you can see what happens.
You must be in a lot of pain.
That's the thing about alcohol, is that like it dulls that part for you, which I know is bad. Actually, you know what? Forget I said that.
Does
I
it?
shouldn't be saying that to you.
Should I try that?
Depends on the type of pain. Just don't tell anybody, okay? Like, because honestly, I don't need any of the.
I mean, does like watching a bunch of people like die in the middle of the rain by something that you can't really like explain the kind of pain that alcohol would cover?
Yes.
Then I should try it.
Okay. Maybe a little bit. How about this? When we get out of here, actually, when we get back, I can. And she like Erin's like going through this like, how do I give the teenager like some relief in this horrific time period, but not be a horrible adult at the same time. So, you know what? Here's the deal. We get on the helicopter tomorrow. We go to wherever we're going, and I'll sneak you a little bit, just a little bit. Because here's the thing, though. Like, yes, it can help numb the pain, but if you're relying on it all the time to numb the pain, then it just becomes painful in and of itself. So, have you ever smoked weed?
I think with the parents' timing at that moment, Dakota and Elle will step into the doorway.
After having a serious conversation, you are stepping out of that separate room into this one.
Hey, kids.
Oh.
What's going on?
Erin's telling me about how she lost her foot because it got real crunchy.
Yeah, and Joy's showing me her art stuff. And we're definitely not talking about substances.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. No,
That's not the best way to cover their bud.
I don't have any bud. What are you talking about?
Oh my god. If you did, I'd kick your ass for holding out on me this long.
I mean, are you kidding? I've been downing bottles like they're water. You think that I'm gonna hold out if I have bud right now? Yeah. Just don't. Anyway.
Don't tell the 12 moms that are in this group.
Yeah.
Like,
don't tell anybody that I could potentially be employed under later on in this.
And Dakota smiles and says, I will still be your reference, just for the record.
And
I
Aaron, weed's legal in Illinois, so you're good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, awesome. All right.
I mean, it's my professional life here as well. So I'm just asking you to maybe ease up on the negligent bone breaking history of the wards in your care and drug references.
Yeah,
just ease up a little bit.
That's a good idea. I was just saying, like, we've been through a lot, and like sometimes. Anyway, that's not important. How are you? What are you guys doing? What's the plan? What are we? We're gonna go searching, right? Like we're gonna go.
Safe here, Aaron. We're holding tight until the morning, and then we're gonna get out of here.
Okay. Yeah, I like that plan. All right, and then just kind of like goes back to like talking to Joy about non-drug things and other ways to be a good human, like coloring. Coloring is great for therapy. A lot of people do art therapy things.
Mm-hmm.
Coloring is good.
I think when Dakota says we're gonna get out of here, Elle catches her eye just for a minute long enough of, oh, so we're lying about this.
And
Good
she
to
gives
know.
that little imperceptible nod.
Elle's starting to catch some of like the mom isms that are going around the group. So she just kind of nods and backs out of the room. Because she doesn't want to lie more.
Thank you. Nancy was asleep for a while. And now that she's had a little bit of time to nap and rest and wake up, She's still warm Nancy, but she's also kind of all business. So she'll start to take some of the weapons that she made and the things that she found, and eventually I think she takes the cardigan back from Darren. So she's putting things in pockets and putting things in her boots and just trying to make sure that she's very well armed and making sure other people are as well.
Darren canonically has a supernatural sense for finding pieces of paper that are able to be stuck to the wall.
Hold on. Does Darren like clear a part of this wall and grab one of Joy's spray paint cans?
I mean, done. Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Because he's very frustrated he can't find a large sticky pad of paper. But so Darren's like, I'm not leading this meeting. I'm more facilitating our conversation. I just want to make sure we're all coming up with ideas and making sure we're all on the same page. And Nancy and I had a really great conversation earlier. We mentioned that, and thank you, Nancy, for kind of spearheading this. But there's going to be a lot of noise tomorrow. Fingers crossed. And there's going to be it could get a little hairy, and we still obviously have to survive tonight. So we want to make sure we're all together. I think it's going to take all of us to make sure we're all safe and make sure we're all able to get out of here, especially we got a couple injured people. So I think the more precautions that we can take now, the more kind of planning we can do, the better we're gonna do tomorrow. I hope you all kind of agree with me on that. But I turn the floor over to you all. Do you have any ideas, any thoughts, any suggestions?
Well, I mean, we could, in theory, load everyone up, make sure we're all ready to run. But, I mean, they're going to be following a helicopter. It's going to be loud, like you say. If I go out front, if I wait and try to find or, clear a path to the helicopter, my only concern is if they see someone with a gun running at the helicopter, that they're going to have questions and perhaps shoot first before they ask them. So if, Joy, you have more paint left, perhaps we write that there's 7 of us inside on the roof, nice and big, so that they see when they land that we are inside waiting for them.
I think Yasmin's right. I don't think we can approach with weapons. They're probably just as jumpy as we are. So you have to be careful about this.
Is it worth still having someone out there to wave them in, something along those lines, or do you think the spray paint's going to do it? And how? No. We'll focus on this first, one thing at a time.
My guess is going to be that unless they see someone living, they're not going to stop. They're going to go to the bodies that are moving and the bodies that are there. So I think one of us needs to be out there.
I can be out there.
Like Erin goes to raise her hand and then realizes that everyone's probably just gonna yell at her and puts it back down.
Darren, you have, what's the word I'm looking for? Compromised visibility, and you can't shoot the gun to save your life. So
how dare you? I have taken 3 lessons at the gun range. Thank you. I'm surprisingly he's actually kind of sort of good at it, but
Darren, honey, I don't want you to take this the wrong way. And Nancy looks at Darren with that look that parents give their children when they know their children's kind of an idiot. And
I wouldn't know that look.
And says, honey, maybe it should be someone on the roof who knows when to talk and who knows when to not.
Darren actually that gets a raise out of him in a way that hasn't been the case. Darren does not often get, actually he is surprisingly weirdly level-headed for being as talkative and weird and emotional as he is. And he looks back at you and he says, I'm the most expendable person here.
Baby, that isn't what I was saying.
That's
No.
No one thinks
I'm,
that.
It doesn't. We don't know what's going on in the rest of the world. We called people at a state who this was happening to. Like we don't know what society is left. Like, you guys are, several of you are injured. So several of you are medical professionals, are young, like and I don't mean to undersell myself. I am good at things that I'm good at. But the only reason that I am still alive is because of the people who had actual skills keeping me alive. And I don't want to. I don't want to die, to be clear. I would like to stay alive very, very badly. But if there's gonna be someone out there, it should be me. It should be me.
We're not talking here about who is expendable or who has value. We're not having that conversation, sweetheart. We're not sending you to the roof because you think we can afford to lose you and we can't afford to lose me or Elle or Dakota. It doesn't work that way.
No,
Don't fucking talk like that.
I understand. I am I'm not someone to leave people behind. I'm not. I know I come off a certain way. I understand. I've had to work very hard to be the person that I am, and that is not always the best person for all situations or all people. But I like people. I can do this.
With the things Darren is saying, especially about talking to people outside, what goes through Elle's mind in that moment?
I think as soon as Darren says anything about people outside experiencing this, it's just like a full drain of confidence, because that's been kind of the thing that's been keeping her going. It's like, it's just here. No one else is in danger. Everyone else is like, Amy's fine. She's safe. It's not gonna change anything. And then the second they hear that people in other places are experiencing this, it's just like a pit drops out of her stomach. And the confidence she had minutes ago about, I'm gonna stay with Dakota and we're gonna find Claire, is still there, but it's colored a little bit in this new uncertainty in another extra direction. So she kind of tunes out conversationally as the revelation washes over her.
I think you're thinking back to the text messages, you're thinking back to that thread of any text message that had been sent since this started, where things seemed fine. Things seemed okay in New York. And then you think about something that was a major factor of why she's in New York and why you're here. You think of one line in particular, something that was said maybe during or after or before a fight. It's hard to keep track sometimes. Sometimes you have to lie to people to keep from causing them pain.
And that never really crossed Elle's mind that she was lying, because usually I'm the one who hides and runs and doesn't say everything. And I think Elle just kind of drops, like, remember having that memory of before I left and her saying that, and then hearing that it's everywhere. I think Elle just kind of sinks to the floor, blank-faced, and just starts shaking.
I think Yasmin would be very dialed into someone having a medical crisis or something that looks like a medical crisis, and I just like drop in front of her and be like, "Are you okay?" And just like checking her pulse to make sure she's not having like a panic attack.
I was wrong. I was wrong.
I feel like Aaron would immediately know what Elle is upset about simply because we've been together this whole time, and Aaron's been leaning on Elle a lot and kind of scooches herself closer to her and is like there with like Yasmin and kind of trying to be like, it's okay, like she might be okay, and then just like sits and like puts her arm around.
I think Dakota, seeing this change come over Elle, would try to pull Joy and Nancy away and ask if they could look at something on her phone. And she's going to take out the picture of Claire, passes the mural picture, and the next one is Claire smiling on her way to school. I just need to know, I have a big decision to make. Can you let me know, have you ever seen this little girl?
So when Dakota shows the photo to both Nancy and Joy, Joy remembers her as the guy that got sacrificed as like kid. And she'll go, she's the one who got out of the church. Like when they threw that guy over the building, she like crawled out of like a window or something, and like she like got down to the street, and I think she like went into the tunnels or like the underground. I don't know. But I remember like seeing her like crawl in there after they had like thrown that guy. Right?
This is another moment, I think, that Yasmin stops what she's doing and stands up and just goes to look at the photo.
Yeah.
I think
so does Darren.
As you're coming over, like, she's already putting the phone away. Like, this is the information that she had wanted to hear. She had been manifesting it. And so she's just like, tears of joy are welling up in the corners of her eyes. And she just puts the phone away and she looks over at Elle and says, "It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. Go to Alaska. Go be with your wife. I'm going to find her. I know I'm not supposed to say that, but I'm going to find her." As Dr. Yasmin and Darren are coming over.
Could we see the photo?
She almost hands it kind of haphazardly, like incidentally, and pulls the photo back up. Oh, almost in a proud parent way, I guess. Like, yeah, here.
I imagine Darren and Yasmin look for like an uncomfortable amount of time.
Do you know what she was supposed to be wearing?
She was with her dad, so probably not what I asked him to dress her in.
I look at Darren and just... I can't say for sure.
We came in the sewers to the church. And
did you cross paths?
we saw an infected that was a little girl. And he looks at Yasmin as like I'm imagining maybe they've like exchanged a quick glance, but like before he says the final thing, looks at Yasmin as kind of like a final right.
It was dark, but it looked like it looked like her. I can't say for sure, but I mean,
it was right under the church.
No. The note said 6 to 24 hours, and that timeline is off. It's someone else.
Darren reaches deep into his what reserve of composure that he has, and just says, I'm sorry, I think it's her. She was small, but so maybe it went quicker.
No.
But and starts listing, he's not even looking at the photo anymore. He just starts listing off details of what she looks like, and then says, if Darren knows, says the outfit that she was wearing. That may or may not ring a bell, but just again is just relying on his memory for people and for things to just kind of be like, yep. And then she had a dimple, and then she had, this, her hair was about this long, she was about this tall, she was wearing this, and is getting into what specifics that he can.
I think Dakota at some point just has to cut him off and just yells, "No, that's not her. It's not her."
So as this is happening, Dakota, you maybe don't even notice kind of at first, but Nancy sort of starts to put her arms around you to hold you up and support you, and looking at you, trying to see what you're thinking, what you're feeling. And Nancy, with tears in her own eyes, turns to Darren, especially as Dakota says stop, it's not her. And Nancy says, "Baby, I need you to stop."
No, yeah. Darren immediately, as soon as Dakota says that, he's not doing it to wound or anything, and he is a people person. He knows, he's, as far as he's concerned, at least, whether he is handling it well or not, is just delivering information and trying to impress that I'm sorry, but you need to know this because we have 12 hours is kind of the energy that Darren is trying to compassionately, but is trying to bring. So you wouldn't have to work hard to stop him, certainly. Okay.
And Nancy will just kind of give her attention to Dakota in that case, and very quietly speak to her and say, "What is it that you need?"
Just need to think about this, she says. And whereas she was full of grief before, she's almost just like a shell at this point. And she's in your embrace, Nancy, but she's not really leaning into it, or there's no human response. She's just catatonic and shock almost. And she's looking directly at Elle. And with the look that they shared earlier with Aaron in the room, saying we're going with you, even though the subtext was we're not, she's looking at Elle. And this time the uncertainty is not, is my daughter alive or dead? The uncertainty is, what do I do now? And what are you going to do now? And that's just the look of deadness behind her eyes as she locks eyes with you, Elle.
I think Elle starts crawling across the floor with one arm and gets over to where they are and just reaches up and grabs her forearm and just tugs until she sits down. Or to see if she'll sit down with her.
Yeah, she does.
And I'm going to lean forward and I'm going to press my forehead against hers. I don't have an answer. I thought we were going to get out of this and it was going to be fine. And we were going into the world. And we're not anymore. And the world is different. And your world is different. Uncontrollably so. But I'm sticking by you. I'm sticking by her. Because that's all we have left. And if you want to go, then I'll go. And if you want to stay, then I'll stay. But I would really like if we were all together. And I'm not telling you to leave her behind because I think there's a part of you that's always going to be here with her. But she's with you now, and that's where she lives.
Dakota, forehead pressed against Elle's, just nods, tears streaming down her cheeks. She has nothing to say. She's just stuck in this state of unknowing and is painfully aware that they are on a countdown.
And I think with that, it almost is like a just fade to black. And we see Darren almost like feverishly making this sign. Because you're on a countdown. We see Yasmin go into another room with the walkie-talkie and try to reach out for her companions, friends, weird found family. We see the door open to the roof as Darren marches outside to sort of hang this banner that was made kind of over the rooftop.
You see him awkwardly clambering up whatever he can clamber up, or hanging it like a flag or like a banner over the side, anything that he can figure out. And what it reads is, and I'm imagining it kind of on both sides, and in big letters, I think it just says the word hope, all caps, hope. And then underneath it, it has tomorrow's date on it. And it's on both sides. And the goal is just to get people close enough to read the word hope and then keep moving that way and then see the date. And he, like you said, feverishly has been working on this and puts it up. And I don't know what time it is. Hopefully it is, there's enough light that he just then, after he is done hanging it, he looks out on what is left of the city. Looks out, seeing almost certainly the infected, probably could even see the church from here, or see who knows what. Like gas might still be burning from the gas station because it's been 3 goddamn days. He looks foolishly hoping that he'll see someone he knows. That is what in his like heart of hearts what he's looking for. Is he wants to see someone he recognizes, someone who he thought had died, but oh no, they're coming back, or the rest of the group that they had to split up with, someone random from the office, anyone. I mean, he just spends like that quick glimpse looking out, just to see, and almost assuredly confirm that no such relief is coming.
I think we kind of go into a little montage of sorts of just simultaneously waiting and hating the time passing all at once. As the hours tick by, once it gets dark you bring out a couple of those battery-powered lanterns to like set on the corner of this rooftop, just to light the banner just a little bit more, draw some more attention. Night falls. You sleep. Some of you sleep. Some of you can't. And that just makes the countdown that much harder.
I would find a room and I would take the walkie-talkie. I would find a place somewhere and just click it on and say, Louis, Lou, Rory, if you're out there, we found a place. I'd give the address. I don't know if you can hear me. I don't know if you can answer me. But Darren and I are okay. The kids, they didn't make it. But I hope that you find a safe place. And I hope we see you again. And I click it off and I wait. And I assume no answer comes, but she waits a long time.
I will say Yasmin was probably gone for a while. Waiting for a response. And the moment that she realized a response wasn't coming, she came back in to join the group.
Dakota would have, just for insurance policy, as she has been tossing and turning all night, unsure of what she should do and what is the right thing to do and what would a good mother do, and just all of these personal and social pressures in her mind, she would have written a letter of recommendation for Aaron as a babysitter that she could wholeheartedly recommend. I think she uses the word eccentric in the letter, but in a good way, and slips that into Aaron's belongings so that she can find it later. And then she takes all of the cash and credit cards in her wallet and would give those to Joy, and hopes that Joy can use them to buy more paint supplies and continue making art wherever she ends up.
We are going to cut to the sound of a helicopter approaching. Off in the distance. It's kind of just quick little scenes of everybody realizing it's happening right now. Scenes of everyone gathering their stuff, everyone moving up to the roof. Darren, you are on the rooftop, looking out at the chaos and the destruction of the city. And you hear the helicopter coming, and you begin scanning the skies instead of the streets. You see one helicopter coming in your direction. You see another heading off somewhere else in the city. You see another heading off somewhere else in the city, and another and another. There are half a dozen heading to various evac points. And I don't know if that necessarily makes you feel better, but there's a little more hope that there are other places, there could be other people. And as it gets closer, I mean, you probably kind of wave it down a little bit, back up towards the door so that it can land.
Yeah, like imagining like pounding on the door to make sure everyone inside like hears and knows.
Yeah. Everyone comes out. It's loud. I mean, it's so loud you can hardly like have any conversations around each other. Everybody's shouting. Everybody's heading to the safety of this helicopter, you've seen a few people come out, guns ready, kind of aiming towards the like the edges of the rooftops just in case, but they don't seem too concerned during the daylight here. But they're helping you up into the helicopter. Aaron is probably one of the first people that they are concerned about lifting up into the helicopter itself. Everyone else is able to kind of climb in on their own, but they still offer help. Elle and Dakota, you have kind of helped Aaron in, and as everyone else is climbing in, Dakota, are you hesitating?
She hesitates. She's a nurse. She would, if she could, ask whatever authority figure she can see, like, I think my daughter is still out there. Like, what's going to happen? Like, where are you taking us? Can I come back? You know, like, she just wants to know, like, is there any certainty that they can provide to this uncertainty in her mind? She's looking for her protocol.
I think they would inform you in a very anything but personal manner. There are ground soldiers sweeping, but they can't promise anything.
She looks at the banner that says hope. She gets in the helicopter. And she hopes.